Hi everyone and welcome back to Tony Laoshi Chinese, English and Russian video blog. Well, yeah, most of those videos on my channel are about languages, and therefore in some of those videos I definitely have to speak English or Chinese and Russian as our main language on this channel. Well guys, today we have a very specific topic to discuss, and some of you will not be 100% agree with me, with my point of view, and today's topic is definitely not about every single Chinese person and Chinese family, but I have to tell you and I gotta ensure you that this is almost about every single person and every single family, Chinese family. So we get started. Chinese women choose a foreigner and it's not their first choice. Are Chinese women heartless? Yeah, from a Western perspective, yes, they are. So are Chinese men. It has a lot to do with their families. The family thing is incredibly important in China, and in this video I'm going to explain why. There might be a very weird question when you get to China. For example, you are having, I don't know, you have some beer with some bunch of people, some local friends, I don't know, some pals from the surroundings, and suddenly you hear this question. You are on a boat with your mom and with your wife. I don't know, for some reason you are, and accidentally both your wife and your mom, they fall into the river, and definitely somehow you have to deal with it, right? So they start to drown, and somehow you have to pull them out. And what will you do? What will you choose? Well, of course most of you will say that I have to save both of them, right? Well, and here is the question. Some of you, probably your logic answer will be somehow I have to save my wife first, because technically, well, I have to sorry to you mom, but yep, my mom, yep, she lived her life, and basically my wife is my future, right? Probably she's already or will be mother of my kids. So probably I have to save my wife, and this is a wrong answer if you are Chinese. So your Chinese friends will say, what the hell, that's wrong answer. And I'll give you one example. There was this exam for lawyers in China. This question was a little bit changed, and they changed water to fire. So instead of water, there was fire instead of water. So those who answered I have to save my wife, they failed. Yep, they failed, and therefore they couldn't pass this exam due to their right understanding of this situation. And that's exactly what brings us this topic for today's discussion in this video, because family thing goes way above everything else in China. Family is everything in China. That's an incredibly important thing. And I'm gonna give you another example. There was a guy, an American guy. He met a Chinese lady. She was a student in one of American universities, and when well, yeah, she was a student, they fell in love, then they started to date, and then they had a child, they married, no, they married, then they had a child. And what happened next? Then when the child was born, this Chinese lady said that I'd like to bring my family, bring my parents to the USA, so my parents could look after our kid and take care of him. And therefore they applied for a tourist visa for her parents. And tourist visa is for 6 months only. Well, so they came to the USA, and well, everything was fine and, well, basically quite okay. And what happened afterwards? 6 months passed away, and the guy was like, hey, hang on, what's going on? It looks like your parents, they were supposed to leave already, but they were still here. And but he didn't know that his wife, his Chinese wife, she applied for green cards. She she applied for this, she made these petitions for green cards, and there was a whole official application process started already. And the key thing that the guy, this American guy, he was supposed to sponsor this process, the procedure, the whole procedure. He had to pay for that. Well, the guy definitely wasn't happy about that because he didn't know. And when the key thing, the key point is that when he said, it's like, I'm not gonna pay for that, it's like, it's not fair, I didn't know about that. And there we go. This Chinese lady said she threatened to divorce, and that's exactly what happened. So that's another example, guys. Now you know. And you know, this guy he couldn't understand how this lady can be so cruel, so heartless, you know. It's like, how can you say that? It's like, our family is a key thing, it's most important thing, and most beautiful thing in this world. Well, yes, I have to respect your parents, but I don't understand that. And so that's an exact thing that you really have to be very careful about. And that's an exactly thing that other foreigners that live in China, they feel really uncomfortable, because some of them, they know that. And you have to realize, you have to be very careful, and second, you have to realize that you always be a second choice, second playing character, you know, because family is everything. So that thing is, that understanding is deeply wired, deeply into their brains. And we also, you and me, guys, we also have to understand why this is going on, why this is happening. Actually, children are incredibly important in China, because this is some kind of, you know, an investment. Yes, you're right, you heard me well, an investment. Children are an investment, you know. Just looking back into Chinese history, like 40 years ago, 40, 50, 60 years ago, what happened in China, you know, people were just like, you know, like really starving. And children are everything, because my child is something that will help me, will provide me with everything for living, you know, in my future, when I'm gonna be old. And that's why it's so important. And it has a lot to do with Chinese pension system. You know, it's not the same as like their well-developed countries. So basically, Chinese people, Chinese parents, well, every single Chinese person cannot 100% count on Chinese government. So technically, if you are a Chinese, so what you have to do is to like you have to take care of your child, like everywhere in the world. It seems to be like that, right? But in China, it's more like that. Like your child is everything, so you have to provide a better education for your child, and so he or she can find a better job in future. So, well, first school, university, and then to find a better job, and finally at the end to take care of you. And I have to tell you guys about friends of mine. All people that I know, they really take care of their families. And you know, like when you're 20 years old, when you're 25 years old, or almost 30 years old, it does not matter, and it doesn't make any sense. That it's like in my thinking, the way I think, and I'm sure that most of you guys, you think just like me. Like you are an adult, right? You're 18 years old already, you're 20 years old, you're 25 years old, and you are an absolutely free person, right? You're free to choose, free to go, free to do whatever you want, because now you are an independent, right? So and it doesn't matter where you want to go. You always, well, basically, you don't have to ask your parents what to do anymore, right? That's our thinking. In China, no, it doesn't work like that, because Chinese people, they follow every single instruction given by, or given from their families, given by their parent, like father or mother or grandparents. They listen to them in everything. Where to go, where to work, and what to do. And therefore, so basically, by saying that, I have to admit that Chinese people are very dependent. Chinese children, like almost like their parents' possession, you know. And well, I'm saying that again. That's a generalization. This is not about everyone, but mostly about everyone. And you guys also, you and me guys, we also have to understand that there are a lot of loveless, like marriages, like real marriages without love, you know, because people simply don't like but don't love each other. Because why? Because their parents, they just force them to marry, you know, to marry this guy or to marry this girl, because he or she, mostly he, has a good job, he has a car, he has an apartment, or, well, yeah, he's rich, therefore you have to. And well, this is not just about women, this is about men too, because they also have to choose, well, let's say not rich, but at least like really worthy person to stay with. Well, and if you are a Chinese lady and if you divorce, it's pretty hard for you to find a second husband, a new person to stay with, because in Chinese mind, like one marriage, one person is for your whole life. Well, and that's right, I really appreciate it. We all value that. That's just great. That's a great thing. But yeah, in China, if you divorce, it's pretty hard for you to find a woman again. Oh, not a woman, a husband if you are female. So it's pretty hard to find a new husband again. So there is no chance for you. Well, there is a chance for you, but your chance is going to be like really small. So if finding a Chinese husband, second husband, is a very hard thing for a Chinese lady, there is no other chance but to marry a foreigner. And that's where foreigner thing, this whole foreigner thinking on Chinese people shows up. Because when you are a foreigner, it's pretty hard to tell you something to make you dependent to make you like really understand our Chinese mind, our Chinese traditional way of thinking. And that's why a foreigner will always be a second number two, when a Chinese lady has to choose. Well, basically not a Chinese lady, her family will choose. But I also have to tell you that lots of Chinese families, Chinese old ladies, they used to say like, oh, a foreigner, well, you speak Chinese, great. Well, when I talk to local women, like old ladies, some old mummies, they used to say something like, do you have a girlfriend? Wife? No? Maybe you'd like to meet my daughter? So, yeah, you see. And why are they doing that? Well, definitely they are interested in foreigners. And well, and by the way, guys, there is one more thing that you also have to know. You know, there is a Chinese New Year. It's a very long holiday in China. It's like a pretty long vacation. During this period, Chinese people are going to, every year, they go back to their hometowns, to the places where they were born, where their families are. And you know, in China, actually, there is a law, there is a regulation. Well, Chinese parents, they actually can sue their children. They can force them. So the government can force them to come and visit their families. So if you are a Chinese and if you don't want to visit your family, your parents can actually push you to make it official, to make these visits official, and you have to do that. So you see, guys, that China is still a very traditional place, with very strict way of thinking, and with very profitable way of thinking. And maybe that's right. So I'd like to hear, guys, to see your comments below this video. So share your ideas on this way of thinking in China, and maybe we all will conclude something good about that. And well, thanks again for watching. That was Laoshi, and I'll see you in our next video. Bye everyone. 我们下次见。大家再见，祝你们好运。
海河湖是。